sometimes called the biggest island on Earth. Australia is a subcontinent of incredible diversity, beauty, danger, and honestly, downright weirdness. From coast to coast, it's a rich tapestry of landscapes, and hiding in each are the wacky and wonderful iconic creatures that make Australia so unique. Australia is known for its sun-kissed beaches, a tropical paradise for babes in bathing suits. But the continent is so much more. It's a vast landmass, really the same size as the United States. And yet, 90% of its human population is gathered along stretches of coast, leaving endless tracts of wilderness. This hidden Australia seems to offer a surprise at every turn. It's 4,000 kilometers from coast to coast and made up of a patchwork of contrasting landscapes: tropical rainforest, snow-capped mountains, dry woodland, giant wetlands, tropical reefs, and hostile desert. The continent also boasts the world's most unique and bizarre wildlife communities. Some species are iconic, like the huge red kangaroo or the much-loved teddy bear-like koala. But throughout this colossal kingdom, diversity reigns. 80% of the animals and plants here are unique and found nowhere else on Earth. From ancient egg-laying mammals, giant birds, and pouched marsupials, to a plethora of deadly reptiles, many of which are, downright weird. 80 million years ago, the world had just one supercontinent. But Australia broke away, floating off in isolation and allowing evolution to take its own unique path. Mammals didn't quite achieve the same level of domination here as the rest of the world. Australia is ruled by reptiles, a typical Aussie basking in the sun, scaly and cold-blooded at dawn. His chilly limbs can be a bit sluggish, but, it doesn't take long to warm up in the desert. Time for breakfast. But he's not dining alone. Australia boasts 21 of the world's 25 most venomous snakes, and this is one of the most deadly. The eastern brown is said to be the second most venomous snake, responsible for 60% of Australia's fatal snake bites. This morning, it wants bearded lizard for breakfast. On this continent of monsters, it can be hard to spot which is the top predator. The hunting snake has become a target to an even bigger predator. The parent, a slightly smaller cousin of the Komodo dragon, 2.5 meters top to tail, with a mouth of razor-sharp teeth and dagger claws, and a biological weapon to boot. Its mouth contains a venom of its own. It's not as deadly as the snakes, but with its combined size and arsenal, it will try and subdue pretty much any prey. The snake must flee for its life. It needs cover, a burrow. But parent claws are ideal for digging. Backed into a corner, the snake goes on the defensive, ready to strike. A bite to the face could do serious damage. The parent decides it isn't worth the risk and goes in search of easier prey. This reptile realm is classic Australia, the Outback. A landscape that inspires dreams of freedom, vast horizons, and ancient cultures. Outback is the term affectionately used for the remote Australian interior, the back of beyond. 6.5 million square kilometers that show little sign of human settlement. At its heart, the red center punctuated by Uluru, the spectacular Ayers Rock. Though it rises 350 meters above the desert, Uluru is the tip of the iceberg. It's just the peak of a mountain range now buried beneath the sand. The surrounding plains offer a classic view of Oz: vast, open, hostile, and hot. There's very little water. Any tiny trickle brings visitors from far and wide to quench their thirst. Red kangaroos and colorful galahs barely bat an eyelid when an emu leads its family for a drink. This childminder is a single dad. With Australia's biggest birds, it's always the male that raises the humbug-striped young. Water is a precious commodity that the chicks clearly enjoy. Much of the desert gets less than 50 centimeters of rain a year, but when it does come, landscapes can be transformed. Pools of water stage natural spectacles, such as the gathering of 100,000 budgies. Usually, the colorful little parrots are spread throughout the desert in small groups, but somehow all seem to sense rainfall and flock together. Any mass of life attracts predators. The whirling masses swirl like shoals of fish, and for the same reason, to confuse predators. Their best chance of safely getting a drink. But aerial experts are hot on their tails. Black kites and whistling falcons take aim and fire, launching themselves talons first into the moving flock. They don't hit every time, But persistence pays off. Heat, heat. A few of the budgies are injured by the predators, or even just hurt by the sheer numbers of their flockmates crashing into them. But nothing goes to waste. This is the easy meal the huge parent was looking for. To him, it's a mere snack. But to scavenging ants, the bird's body is a mountain of food. They dismantle it and ship it back to their nest, one jawful at a time. These tiny citizens of the Outback have a unique food ladder. They are honeypot ants. Some of the workers from the colony are born to the role of food storage. The other ants feed them, and the nutrients are stored as a rich honey in their engorged abdomen. When food is scarce, the colony can come to the ladder, stroke the honeypot's antenna for permission to eat, and then sip at regurgitated honey. Having a subterranean home protects the colony from the elements and from most predators, but not this one. Uniquely Aussie. There's nothing else on Earth quite like the echidna. Looking like a cross between a hedgehog and an anteater, it's a creature that's barely changed since the time of the dinosaurs. Mammals evolved from reptiles, and like their ancestors, the early forms still laid eggs, a trait only found in 2 mammals today, both of which live in Australia. Also, like a reptile, the echidna has a very low body temperature, its performance enhanced by the warm weather. But it's fast and agile enough to wreak havoc on the homes of ants and termites, digging with its muscular shoulders and stout claws. Its long, sensitive beak houses a nearly 20-centimeter tongue that laps up its tiny but numerous prey. It can consume 20 grams of bugs a minute with 100 flicks of its tongue. Ants are one of the few abundant food resources in the heart of Australia, one of the most challenging environments on Earth, but a far cry from the home of the echidna's one cousin. The northeast of Australia seems a world apart, more than 3.5 million hectares of tropical rainforest in quiet pools and streams. One of the most famous and yet shy and elusive creatures lives here, the platypus. It's such a bizarre little creature that scientists thought the first specimens were fakes, duck's beaks glued onto stuffed beavers. But the platypus is real. Like the echidna, it represents one of the earliest branches of the mammal family tree. Today, the 2 oddities are the only mammals to lay eggs and have beaks. And as if it couldn't get any weirder, this male platypus has venomous spines on its back legs that pack enough punch to kill a dog. The spurs allow males to fight for territory and breeding rights. This one's territory is teeming with aquatic creatures, worms, crayfish, and other goodies, and he hunts them using electroreception like a shark. His beak has 40,000 electroreceptors, paws that can detect the tiny pulses of life. So even though his eyes are closed in folds of skin, he can sense his way. But he needs to be careful. A monster stalks Australia's waterways, the largest predator in any freshwater system and the biggest reptile on Earth. The saltwater crocodile. It's a long-distance traveler that can cross land and even oceans to find new habitat. And with the strongest bite force on the planet, it can eat just about anything. Fortunately, the speedy platypus can sneak away to its burrow. The odd little animal is safe for now. There's no doubt about it. Australia's wildlife is weird. Even the birds are batty. In the trees overhead, a rifle bird performs an elaborate dance to try and attract a mate. Another feathered Casanova tries to sing its way to a female's heart. The superb lyrebird first clears his stage, then unfurls his dramatic costume. Let the performance begin. He's a master mimic, copying and remixing the calls of all other inhabitants of the forest. Lyrebirds have even been known to mimic chainsaws, camera shutters, and trucks. He seems to be doing his best Star Wars impression. The richness of plant species provides well for Australia's amazing bird diversity. Of more than 800 species, half are only found here. Many are tempted out when trees produce their fruit, among them a dinosaur, or at least one of their descendants. All birds are living dinosaurs, but few represent their ancestry more than cassowaries. The huge birds have given up flight and patrol the forest floor. Often considered the most dangerous birds because of velociraptor-like claws on their feet that can be unleashed on any threat. Cassowaries seem to be attracted to the same colors in each other as in their favorite foods, though who knows who mimics who. And it's not just surfers who enjoy Australia's beaches. Fortunately for the beachcombing cassowaries, the rainforest stretches right down to the sand on much of the northeastern coast. 20% of Australia is forested, but most isn't rainforest. It's dry eucalyptus, the famous gum tree. There are 700 different kinds of eucalyptus.